Progressive.com. Let me go a quick behind the scenes on the Adam thing. So it got a lot of play. He put it out there on social media for us yesterday, which we appreciate. On Sports ESPN on Twitter is where he quote tweeted it. So back in early October, he said the over-under will be at least 12 trades between that moment, October 14th, and yesterday. Then he said, well, probably like 15, right? But then he comes in off the air one day and he shows us his notes, and his notes said, I think last year was like 18 trades in that same time span. And he said, it wouldn't surprise me if it was around that. And I want to say we had 19, if I'm not mistaken, between the moment that Adam said that and yesterday. So he was right by a lot. Any number you want to use for Adam, the 12, the 15, the 18, doesn't matter. He was right on that. And we saw trades in a huge way. Not only Sauce Gardner to the Colts, as we've discussed, but Quinnen Williams, a defensive tackle who's an all-pro caliber player, to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys did give up a second-round pick this year, the better of the two picks they have next year between Green Bay and Dallas, and Mozzie Smith, who's a former first-round defensive lineman, which, by the way, side note, I like that for the Jets. That's a smart thing. A reclamation project first-rounder, great idea. A.D. Mitchell, the wide receiver from the Colts, same kind of thing, second-rounder. Like, those guys can be stars on the Jets. That all said, you teased the idea of someone else got a proverbial contract extension, as I said about Glenn. Who was the other person?
Oh, Daniel Jones.
Okay, so we'll get to that then in a little bit. But let's start on the Cowboys part of it. Do you like this move for Dallas, who's not a playoff team right now, but they went out and gave up a second and a first and a player for a star player in Quinnen Williams?
Yeah, I mean, they have the best defensive tackle trio in the NFL between Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, and Osa Odigizua. And Dallas is clearly trying to build an identity for the future. If one thing the Cowboys are going to do is beat you up. They invested in their offensive line, the interior of that unit this offseason. They drafted Tyler Booker with the first-round pick to go along with Tyler Smith, to go along with Tyler Guyton. I guess they got a corner on all offensive linemen named Tyler that are going to get drafted in the first round. But then you go around and then you trade for Kenny Clark, and then you trade for Quinnen Williams, and you paid Osa Odigizua this offseason. It's clear that they are prioritizing size, athleticism, and physicality in the trenches. Every solid football team, every championship contending football team is built front to back, middle out.
That's Kansas City.
That's exactly what the Dallas Cowboys are doing right now. And so you might not get the return on investment. It might not pay dividends quickly in terms of being able to save this season, but the Dallas Cowboys are trying to forge an identity that will allow them to compete in the NFC. Because when you look at teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, when you look at some of the other upper echelon teams, the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're building their teams with their offensive line being at the forefront of what they're doing. The Detroit Lions, the same way. They build it with the offensive line. You've got to find a way to be able to counter that. You've got to find a way to be able to stop the run. You've got to find a way to be able to affect the other team's passer. This is going to help the Dallas Cowboys do that in a significant way. Yes, it does. But we just praise the Jets for being realistic about their place in all of this and what they need to do to build for the future. And it feels like the Dallas Cowboys did the exact opposite with this move yesterday. Quinnen Williams is a great player, but he's going to be 28 years old next month, and he's expensive. And the Dallas Cowboys are a team that has a 7% chance to make the playoffs right now. 7%. So you went in on adding to a team that isn't going to win this year, and you added money, and you added a player who's aging and moving on from draft capital where you could go out and get a younger player and build from the draft. I didn't really make sense of this move. I was surprised to see I know Jerry Jones had teased that they had a big deal, but I was surprised to see the Cowboys go in like this. Yeah, but it's not just about this year. It's about future years. And then, oh, by the way, the difference between where they're at and where the Jets are at is the Cowboys have a quarterback. So, I mean, I hear where you're coming from, and make no mistake about it, they paid a hefty price in order to get Quinnen Williams. But what they have is a proven commodity. They have an all-pro defensive tackle when he's at his best. They have a guy that's top 5 in sacks for interior defensive linemen since he came into the league in 2019. It's Chris Jones, Aaron Donald, DeForest Buckner, Cam Hayward, and Quinnen Williams. That's the company that dude is keeping. So you're going to get an impact player that fits within the scheme of Matt Eberflus. But I think the most important thing is that you now have a calling card for that defensive unit. When we start looking at these different teams and we start looking at the different sides of the ball, the different units, we want to know what the dominant traits are. The Dallas Cowboys now have that with Quinnen Williams. They can now work off of that. They can now build off of that. So although I do think it is a very steep price to pay, I do like the move that the Dallas Cowboys made because philosophically I believe in building football teams that way.
Quinnen Williams has never played in a playoff game. Will that change now?
Would it change this year? Probably not.
Will it change next year?
Probably, yeah.
So the move that the Cowboys made yesterday, by giving up a second and a first, makes you believe that in the absurd year and a half away playoff predictions, that you are comfortable penciling in the Dallas Cowboys, that they have now built a great playoff team. They have built a playoff team for the 2027 playoffs.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are a draft and free agency cycle away.
The Cowboys are a draft and free agency cycle away from making the playoffs.
From contending for a playoff spot, correct.
And your point is, if that's all we're not contending for a title, contending for a playoff spot, contending to be one of the 7 best teams in the NFC.
Correct.
And I do wonder if you had a good draft, if a second-round pick and a first-round pick over the next 2 years would do the same thing for you. Right? Like, are you in the same exact spot by just keeping these picks? And now maybe Mozzie Smith was a bust out of Michigan.
He was a bust.
For them. I think we now have to do the bust for them thing because of all the reclamation projects in the league. So a bust for them. I mean, who knows what he's going to be with the Jets?
Fair.
But Smalls, your point is, if you just kept them, you're in the same spot anyway.
You had an expensive defensive star, and it didn't get you anywhere. I just think the Dallas Cowboys, it would have behooved them, in my opinion, to... No, that's not the word of the day.
I didn't say anything.
Your eye was twitching.
I had an itch.
Your eye was twitching.
I had an itch in my eye.
In my opinion, it would have behooved them, even though Quinnen Williams is a great football player, to hang on to that draft capital and go the less expensive route and build that way. Gary
Myers of ESPN New York, 880 on Saturday afternoons, Gary, a longtime NFL reporter, tweeted this at Gary Myers NY. Jerry Jones wanted Quinnen Williams and a 1 from the Jets in September for Micah Parsons. Jets said no. Jones traded Parsons to Green Bay for 2 number 1s and defensive tackle Kenny Clark. Jones traded number 1, number 2, and Mozzie Smith to the Jets for Williams. Final scoreboard: Parsons, Smith, and a number 2 for Williams, Clark, and a number 1. Not far from what Jones wanted in the initial deal with the Jets. The winner in this, Green Bay.
There you go.
Are we sure?
I don't know about that.
I don't know that there's any. I don't even think you can declare a winner anywhere yet.
Here's the thing. Nobody's trying to make the argument that Quinnen Williams is a better player than Micah Parsons. But in terms of what the Dallas Cowboys need, they needed to be able to stop the run. Guess what? You can't rush the passer when it's 2nd and 4 or 3rd and 2. You got to be able to stop the run. And they couldn't stop the run last year. They were 31st in scoring defense with Micah Parsons on the team last year. Right? So you added a player in Quinnen Williams, that's going to help you stop the run. You added a player in Kenny Clark, that's going to help you stop the run. Osa Odighizuwa is a hell of a pass rusher. Now you get to pair him with another really good interior pass rusher in Quinnen Williams. So you've got those pieces. And then, oh, by the way, I'm getting DeMarvion Overshown back at some point around Thanksgiving or shortly thereafter. The Dallas Cowboys have building blocks on the defensive side of the ball. And then they still got a 1st-round draft pick from Green Bay. And they got their own. So, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have ammunition to do some things. And I think that defense can make a dramatic improvement, even in the short term, in the second half of this season. Do I think they're going to get it turned around to save the season? No, I do not. But do I understand why they're doing it in terms of trying to build an identity where they can have success moving forward? I do. This was pre-agency for the Dallas Cowboys. They got to jump on their off-season acquisitions yesterday.
Coming up, all indie after this. That was pretty good, right? That was better than yesterday when I stumbled going into a break. After this from Midas, a shout out to Paul and the team.